Yo, yo, my name is Big Lou, and you're now listening to Go Produce. We're the show that explores how music industry professionals turn their passions into profit. In this episode, we've got Gabriel Matacchioni, a person that does not beat around the bush and who, in his 20s, is making waves in the music festival scene. The Go Produce focus of this episode is how do you build a successful event from the ground up, the Ever After Music Festival version? If you think you're too young to do anything, then this episode is for you. But thank you, Gabriel, for being here. I want you to know that we very much do appreciate your time. So let's go ahead and make the most of this and go produce. Listeners, let me tell you who we've got for you today. In 2015, Gabriel Matacchioni had a vision to bring a world-class EDM music festival experience to the Tri-Cities area. Now, Ever After Music Festival attracts more than 30,000 people each day from all over the world. Gabriel's vision has grown to make Beyond Oz what it is today, a top-tier production company with assets such as concert venues, music festivals, and food and drink festivals. Beyond Oz is ever expanding, and there is much more that Gabriel has planned for the future of the company. Gabriel Matacchioni, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's an honor to have you. Let's jump right into it with our first segment. Pow! And that's the basics. I'm not going to lie, I thought you would be more of a dancer.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Okay. Well, we'll move forward with this then. In this segment, we're going to be asking you some simple questions so that we can ultimately get to know you better, and then we can move forward with the rest of the interview. I'd like to start off with, what is your first musical memory?
My first musical memory would probably have to be sneaking into downtown Toronto nightclub at the age of 14 for my love of EDM music. I won't name the club or the artist I went to go see, but that's probably my first memory.
And you got in at 14.
I got in at 14. The love of electronic overpowered finding a fake ID.
So I'm guessing, like, were you battling to get a fake ID from before this, or by the time you turned 14, you were able to kind of trick everyone?
You know what? It was more so how I could get in to really just enjoy what I loved. At that age, not many people understood the joy of electronic music, at least where I grew up. So it was really just to go and enjoy that music.
Very cool. And so if it wasn't very common in the area that you grew up, how were you exposed to it initially?
Honestly, by accident. I was a pretty big gamer when I was a little younger. Still am a little bit, but one of the soundtracks happened to be produced by Deadmau5, and from there I just fell in love.
He got you. Yeah. Yeah. And oddly enough, that is a big market, video games, and a lot of producers don't really realize that, but we can talk about another time. I want you to now dive into Beyond Oz Productions. I want to know what is behind Beyond Oz and what your specific role is there.
So Beyond Oz Productions was truly curated and built by myself and my father, really with my love for not only electronic music, but the live music industry. I was a heavy festival attendee, as I just said, sneaking into clubs since I was 14. So, going to these different events and these different club shows, I always thought there was a gap or things that I didn't fully agree with or like of my experience of going to these things. So when we curated Beyond Oz and really founded the company, it was really truly to bring a festival experience that could fill those voids for the consumers.
So you took a lot of personal experience and then I'm guessing paired it with your dad's business acumen, and together, boom, Beyond Oz became?
Exactly.
So both integral parts.
Correct.
Very cool. We're focusing on you, but was your dad in this industry before?
The closest thing to this industry he was in was probably in the film industry. Other than that, he's never had a venture in the live music side of the business, so it would have been first.
Very cool. And today, well, on an average day, what does your role look like at Beyond Oz?
It's a lot of support and curating through internal functions. So when we curated, we've always gone through the path of thinking turnkey. And by turnkey, we mean having everything in house. That goes from design, from marketing, from talent curation to the talent booking itself. So every facet of my team is really in house under Beyond Oz. So it's a lot of overseeing, it's a lot of tweaking and making sure everyone's on the right pathway that stays congruent to what our vision is, so that when we execute on the weekends of or the shows or whatever project that hand may be, we're all walking together in the same path, and the execution comes out proper for the consumers.
And did that knowledge or wisdom come from attending the events and observing what you saw, or did that come from trial and error by doing, or a combination of both, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's a little more of a combination of both. I definitely took what I didn't enjoy from experiences I've had, and then we listen to feedback as much as we possibly can. If it's within our means, we're going to execute on something that we found a common, problem. We'll try and fix that the following year.
When you speak, you say we. I really like that. How big is your team on the back end?
Corporately, full time, we have probably 12 employees. When it comes to a project like Ever After on the weekend of, our team, including all of the stakeholders and different contractors, we're probably up and around the 650 people on site there.
Ooh.
So it gets pretty intense.
Needless to say. Now, okay, so the same question but directed towards Ever After.
Sure.
What's your average day-to-day role there? Does that differ very much from Beyond Oz?
A little bit. Do you mean on site or prepping in up until the event?
I Let's start with up until the event.
Okay,
Yeah.
so up until the event, not much changes from my day to day on the Beyond Oz side. It is a major facet of our business. So really just keeping everyone on track, making sure the pathway is congruent to what our vision is from the onset, and what we've been selling from the onset is a big facet of what I do day to day. But I'm a little bit of a micromanager, so my hand does dwell into every facet of what a festival is from top down.
Right. And if you're always working towards your vision, I wonder over the years, does your vision almost change? You make micro adjustments, of course, but is it more that the vision itself is changing or the approach to attain the vision is a little different?
I think it's the approach. The vision has and always will be best customer service experience. So we know the talent and who's on stage is super important to something like a music festival. Of course, it's a music festival, but to us, the word festival is almost more important than the word music in that little phrase. And what I mean by that is what we're selling that's not on the stage is to us just as important, if not more, than whoever's on the stage. We think memories are built through the experience, not through someone's set or someone's performance. Though they add to that atmosphere, no doubt. It's really everything else and what we sell on the experience side that we're avidly striving for at every event and every show.
Right. And having a clear vision will help align your group of 12 all the way up to a group of $650 people. Yes.
Exactly.
And how about On the Grand? Can you tell us more about that venture?
Yeah, so On the Grand was a venue partnership with our parent venue, Bingamans. It is a soft scale amphitheater. It's currently the largest in the Tri Cities with a legal total cap of 25,000 people. We've never filled that outside of Ever After. We typically try and keep it around the 16 to 18,000 mark, which we've done numerous times.
Is that by choice?
Yes, by choice. It's it adds to that customer experience. It's a more manageable number, and with the space being on the Bingaman's land, and the partnership there, we can afford not to have that venue 100% sold out. Be profitable.
That's awesome. It is quite uncomfortable going to some of these events and they're spilling out the edges because of capacity. Like,
Yeah, it comes down to not only space itself, but how do you manage the bar? How long are you waiting in line? If you have to go to the wash, how long does that take? So we try and factor all those things in, and also it depends on, is it a festival product? Is it a concert product? What are you being sold? And what's the tolerance of having to wait in a half-hour line if you have a 12-hour day or if you have a 6-hour show? So we try and weigh all that out.
that's probably an interesting conversation to have. And it probably is, even with the same festival, I'm saying festival, not music festival, even with the same festival year in, year out, that conversation can be very different every year.
100%. 100%.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Those are our not so basic questions. I hope you're feeling nice and warmed up because next up, we're moving real quick. We're moving into the speed round. I know you said you don't dance, so I'm not going to ask that of you, but I am going to ask you to answer these questions real quick. They're 20 questions and they're designed to be answered with just one word. If
Sure.
you feel the need to clarify anything, please hold on to that and we'll do that at the end of this round. Cuckoo?
Sounds good.
I like it. All right. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Does your birthday always happen on the same day?
No.
Do you hail from Newmarket, Ontario?
Sorry?
Are you from Newmarket, Ontario?
Yes, I am.
Are you a night owl or are you an early riser?
Both.
What's the first thing you can think of that's the color blue?
My coffee mug.
If you could book one artist, who would it be?
Deadmau5.
Would you agree that Ever After helped put Kitchener on the map when it comes to live music and entertainment?
No doubt.
Smile or game face?
Game face.
Is it true that you consider Bingaman's to be the unicorn of venues?
Correct.
Would you rather be rich or successful?
Successful.
Is it true that in 2018, Ever After had a ticket sold in every US state?
That's true.
Interesting. Neat or on the rocks?
On the rock.
Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life?
A pause button.
Your favorite artist is?
Deadmau5.
I'm not surprised. Do UFOs have a weight limit for carry-on luggage?
Sorry?
Do UFOs have a weight limit for carry-on luggage?
Definitely not.
Probably not it. Work hard or play hard?
Both.
If you had to pick just one genre of electronic music to listen to, which would you choose?
Techno.
Ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas.
Above talent, would you say that what you look forward to most at Ever After are the happy smiles from patrons coming through your gates?
100%.
And would you rather hear the good news or the bad news first?
The bad news.
The bad news. I got some good news. That's the end of this round. Bad news is... oh. Yes, I need to get better at that. But the bad news is now we get to justify or interrogate you a little bit further as to what I want. Is there anything you want to justify?
Nope.
No? Okay. I want to know, you agreed absolutely that Ever After helped put Kitchener on the map when it comes to live music and entertainment. Go on there.
Speaking on strictly on factual points, before, even 2017, we'd look up top cities or top places in Canada, and you wouldn't find Kitchener anywhere close on that top 10 map. Now, I believe it was in 2018, it was published that one of the most thrived or wanting to visit places was Kitchener. So I believe truly that that has a lot to do with what we've done there with Ever After. I think, adding something that people look forward to, and is more of a fun activity rather than being in that school and pub hub, um, just adds to that, putting it on the map sentence there. We've always taken the approach that it's a great population in the summer, especially on the student side, huge student population. But that being said, those students are in college or university, so they're making some pretty big decisions thereafter they leave school, and that's where am I going to live? Where am I going to start my family? Where am I going to work? There are great jobs in Kitchener. I think one of the biggest problems was there was never anything to do in the summer. So I think with Ever After, we're helping and aiding that, which is helping a lot of those students say, I'm okay to stay in Kitchener.
It's very interesting and beneficial for the whole city.
100%. The economy definitely loves us there on that weekend.
And we all have to do our part, and clearly you guys are doing it very well and having fun by the looks of it. My next clarification is, why would you prefer the bad news first?
If I get the bad news first, it gives me more time to plan and strategize on how to fix that bad news and turn it into good.
Okay. Yeah. Reframe it, look at it from a different perspective, and make it good.
Exactly.
It's very important. And why do you prefer the pause button over rewind?
The pause button, I'm a type of guy that never really regrets any decisions or moves we've made. So rewinding would just give me the opportunity to do so. The pause button would allow me to strategize on how to fix anything that we've done wrong.
Right. Yeah. Very different uses. Deadmau5. You been a lifelong fan?
I have.
That's awesome. Have you booked him? Clearly.
We have.
Ridiculous question to ask. But yes, if you've got nothing else that you want to clarify, I think we can move on. I always like to say that there's lots of knowledge to gain from thrashing someone with all of these kinds of questions. So thank you for being a player and participating in that. Next up, we've got our third segment of the show. Boom. What's your take?
Bad. That was very bad.
Hey man, I'm only human and we're trying to do the best that we can, so let's just do that. So what we're going to do in this segment called What's Yo Take is I'm going to provide you with different quotes, statements, topics, or ideas. And essentially, I want you to share your opinion, your perspective with us so that we can benefit from it. Cool?
Sounds good.
All right. First, a festival is not a lucrative venture. What's your take?
I think it's extremely lucrative as long as you know what you're doing and what you're getting into. So a lot of people believe in the build it and they will come. That is absolutely incorrect for this business. It's an extremely, extremely competitive and hard business to understand and grasp. But once you do, it can become extremely lucrative.
How does one even begin grasping it?
Well, if you go down our route, it's a trial and error. We are a venture capitalist family, so that's typically the route we take, is taking challenges and projects on ourselves. If you go down maybe a more controlled route, I'll call it, definitely get in the business through someone else. Work for a production company, even any facet of what a festival could be, whether on the vending side, the production side, any ins you have into that industry, take that avenue first.
Yeah. So it does, even a janitor at the studio has his foot relatively in the door. So it really doesn't matter where you go, but just start doing and make yourself physically present.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's quite hard to accomplish very much without doing that. That's for real. Owners are meant to be directors and are not meant to be in the trenches getting their hands dirty. What's your take?
False.
False?
False. False.
All right, go ahead, expand.
We completely disagree with that. If you've ever been to one of my events, you probably would have noticed me in a production vest on the grounds with a walkie. Probably haven't eaten in 12 hours to 24 hours. And, you know, I'll do, and as well as my entire management team will do anything from pulling fence to greeting customers. We are a hands-on group, and we truly believe that's the only way you'll be able to react, change, and fix for the better the experience for the following year.
I think that's accurate for two reasons. For one, you have to be there to see what's going on in order to actually implement the changes. If not, something's going to get potentially lost in communication. And
Correct.
then also, it probably has a positive effect on your staff and actually the festival goers too. But I wonder, does it assist you and your management team in gaining respect from the rest of your staff, seeing you there?
Yeah, I think the people we hire directly understand who we are. The hiring process is pretty unique in terms of, you know, they meet a lot of us. We're interactive with them. I think we gain more respect from the contractor side of things and the stakeholder side of things. That being, you know, our carnival partners or the police themselves, security. When people like that see you down on the grounds with them, whether it's telling them to do something because you've noticed something and you're reacting, I think they really, really appreciate that, and you gain a respect much quicker than you would in another instance.
Right. It humanizes you. But would you say, has it ever devalued you?
I don't think it's ever devalued us. I don't think anyone ever looked at us down in the trenches as, you know, a point of or sign of weakness. It's always been more on the respect side.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Right now, Ever After lineup heavily focuses on bass music, but that doesn't mean it won't change 5 years down the road. What's your take?
Yeah, no, I think that's completely true. We took on the bass subgenre really because we found an opportunity. When we really started to gear and shift into full-on bass music, it was at a time that bass was again just starting to come out of the underground, and I saw an opportunity there. I'm heavily involved in the curation of what the talent consists of because of my passions and loves for the music. So I noticed the trends. I'd like to say a little quicker than most. So because of that, we saw that opportunity. I love bass music myself, and we went that route. That's not saying, you know, 5, 10, 15, how many ever years down the road, if we do see some, you know, overall changes in what the consumers like, uh, there's no question we will react and provide what they want to see.
Do you have a preference as to where that would go? Or like, say a genre of music is popping, it's what's happening, but you don't vibe with it. Would you still lean into that because it's where the business is going?
I think as long as we can still obtain profitability and the event is not costing us anything fundamentally, we will still stay true to what our colors are in terms of our likes, interests, and passions. But at the end of the day, it is still a business, and that business strives on numbers typically. So if we need to shift into something that I'm not too accustomed to or attuned to, we will definitely try and keep our flavors in there as well as bringing the masses in.
Makes sense. It makes sense. While going to the different festivals, you've obviously taking your notes, if you will. But is there a particular festival that you have looked up to over the years as like, oh, they're doing well more than others?
Yeah, I think on the electronic side, it's pretty simple. Tomorrowland and EDC are, in my opinion, the two juggernauts. Not only because they have every artist, under any agency playing, but again, they sell the experience. If you look at their lineups, you probably can't even read them for how many artists are on there.
It's wild.
So to me, when people are buying those tickets, yes, they know they're going to see who they want to see, but truly they're buying that little vacation, if you will, and that's really what we've tried to build and mock.
Awesome. What is your favorite festival that you've attended?
My favorite festival that I've attended would have to probably be Ever After.
That's awesome. And outside of Deadmau5, is there a favorite artist you've dealt with?
Probably Skrillex, Skrillex or Diplo. Super fun guys, pretty chilled, and they'll actually take the time and meet with fans or have a little chat with the management. Anything to make the whole process of what they do a little more seamless. But their teams are super professional as well. They get the job done, and they're really in and out.
That's awesome. Now, those are all huge international names, but they're working with you in your festival here in Kitchener. I wonder, have you ever planned on starting festivals outside of Kitchener?
Yeah, we look at all options. Currently Ever After's grown to a size that we're getting, global traction, not only from the attendee side, but the producing side. So we've gotten calls from different places in the States, Mexico, some places in Europe, for licensing deals and agreements to actually bring Ever After, worldwide. So it's definitely a model we're looking at, much like the Ultra model.
That's awesome. I think I'm available that day.
Whichever day it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Gabriel?
hell no.
Oh, hell no. That's hilarious. Okay, Gabriel, we're about to start our fourth segment of the show. This one is called Wheel Challenge. In the wheel challenge, I'm going to spin this wheel behind me for you, and we're going to see what challenge pops up. All right? I'm not going to explain them all because that's far too many. We'll just do what happens.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Okay. So, Gabriel, we've got music trivia for you. Cool? I don't need to
Good.
explain that because it's quite simple. The first question I've got for you: whose 2006 Coachella performance was instantly declared iconic and is said to have revolutionized electronic dance music? I can give you options if you want.
2006?
2006 Coachella.
These options.
We've got David Guetta, we've got Skrillex, and we've got Daft Punk.
Let's go with Guetta.
Guetta, you are incorrect. It's Daft Punk. They're widely considered the best Coachella set of all time, and their Sahara Tent performance, where they debuted their now famous Pyramid stage, sparked the 2000s American EDM explosion. The more you know. Next up, which music festival is considered the cleanest in the world? We've got Fuji Rock, we've got Rock am Ring, we've got Rock in Rio.
Fuji Rock?
Correct. You seem very confident in that one. We're just going to move on. Last one. One for two. You can still win. You still got this. Lollapalooza is an annual 4-day music festival based in Chicago, Illinois. But can you tell me what the word Lollapalooza means?
Do I have options?
Yes. You've
Sure.
got a large, lively party, especially one celebrating something. You've got a person or thing that is particularly impressive or attractive. And you've got enjoyment, amusement, or lighthearted pleasure. A, B, or C.
Let's go with A.
A large, lively party?
Sure.
No. It's a person or thing that is particularly impressive or attractive. Lollapalooza. 1 for 3. I mean, I don't think I would have gotten any of these, so you did better than I would. So thank you for doing that. And that brings us to the
That
end of our
doesn't make
fourth
anyone
round.
feel better at all. Like that doesn't really make him feel better, does it?
I tried. You can't say I didn't try.
You did try.
Hey. Okay. That means there's only one segment left in today's episode. That segment is called Clear the Air. Woo. Oh man, I made a boo-boo. Okay. So in Clear the Air, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to be honest about challenges of common issues within the industry. I want you to help us become better and avoid unnecessary hurdles. Cool?
Cool.
Okay. As someone who entered this industry at a young age, inform us on some of the challenges you faced while building momentum and how you gained respect from those who consider themselves older and wiser.
Some of the challenges naturally of coming into any industry at a younger age is age itself. The older, more experienced, wiser players in the industry sometimes just tend to negate anything you say or what you're trying to do, just on the basis of your age. So the age itself is definitely a huge challenge. A way I've combated that personally is I've listened more than I've spoken, and when I have raised my voice, it's with meaning, and there's definitely substance behind it, and that typically tends to pierce the room, and gains the respect of those around you. So huge challenge in any industry is definitely the age, but it's definitely overcomable.
That's the truth. There's a quote that says, "We've got one mouth and 2 ears for a specific reason." And if you're speaking, you're only repeating things that you already know, whereas if you're listening, you're learning something new. So that's a
Exactly.
very wise approach to take, and it does take you very far. You're living proof of it, clearly. For those of us on the outside of this operation, of your operation, it can be easy to lose sight of what goes on behind the scenes of building and growing an event as large as Ever After. So, can you tell us about what behind the scenes looks like and what roles need to be filled in order to keep everything together?
Yeah, behind the scenes is a little bit of, I'll call it, chaotic beauty. It's every day is a different day. It's a different challenge. But as long as you stay organized, and again you attempt to stay true to your vision, typically you'll get to the end of the finish line there. So the day to day is really, again, just keeping everyone on the same path, and keeping that organization true. At the end of the day, you're an event planner, and event planners are successful when they're organized. So that's what we try and do.
Stay organized all the way through. Are there some tips that you would give young professionals to remain organized or become organized?
Yeah, don't rely on your memory. Write things down, and definitely, this helped me a lot because I am a procrastinator. But do not procrastinate. Jump on things when you have the time to, and free up more time for anything that could pop up. This business has a lot of pop-ups, so you need that extra time.
That's what it is, to be honest. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I can do whatever tomorrow." But what happens when tomorrow something new comes? Like you're already behind.
Exactly.
It's so true. And it's true. Yes. How did the operation originally look like compared to now? Are there a lot of similarities, a lot of differences?
No, I think there's quite a few differences. Because we are independently run and owned, um, off the hop, call it the first 2 years. I think we tried to be a little more diverse with the music, as well as paying acts whatever they wanted, and just attempting to get the biggest acts we could at such a young and immature age of what the festival was. Um, so I think the only thing that's really changed is we've focused in, now that we do have the name, we do have the buying power behind us. We could shift into truly what we thought the void in the industry was. And that was the experience.
How long would you say it took you to have that reputation?
I think it was about 2 to 3 years, where we started to finally gain respect from not only the industry itself, but the industry partners. So the agents, the managers, people just trusting us with their talent and their A+ talent, and being able to book whoever we wanted.
Right. They're like, oh, these people are here to. They're not here to play. They're here to stay.
Right.
That's good. How do you find a place within a tight knit industry, which is pretty much based off of relationships? As a young festival, I should say.
How do we find a place? Our strategy was pretty forceful, to be honest. We plopped down. For those who don't know, we actually took Ever After, and the initial project itself, probably 2.5 months before the date of execution had to be done. So year one was really just saddle up and go.
Let's go.
Um,
Hold on.
had a much bigger team at that point, so we could handle different obstacles through different people. And we really weren't spreading ourselves thin, because we knew the time frame was next to impossible to meet. We really just ran for it.
That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. I like it. What made you decide to take on the festival 2 months out, though? Like, that's aggressive.
Truly, it was me being naive. I knew the things that had to change in terms of the experience because I was going to events. But me being so young, and going to so many events, I never really attended an event that was, I'll call small. So really, when I started avidly going, these events were quite popular, and I truly believed in if I build it, they will come. So that the naiveness was probably the biggest one.
You live and you learn. Did you also pay off the weather gods after the first 2 years? Because it's a thing.
No, they owed me. I think I'm owed until I retire out of this.
You
business.
paid your sacrifice.
I paid my due. One.
That's hilarious. What about some of the businesses and services outside of your organization, strategic partners that play crucial roles in the success of Ever After? What are those relationships with, and how do you choose them?
I think, again, because we're independently owned and operated, we've never gone the route of big corporate sponsors. Because we've never been able to leverage more than the few properties that we do have. But B, I think it takes a lot of the power out of what you truly want to do with the experience. So I've tried to attach myself to relationships such as the contractors. So production itself, bringing production in-house instead of going to a big labeled company and saying, this is what I need, do it. We actually work with a great PM, and we PM the show ourselves. So we go direct to the suppliers. We're renting things directly off of them. There's no middleman. And we try and do that with a lot of the stakeholders. And those are the relationships that I hold dear.
Yeah.
As well as the venue.
What about ticketing and food and beverage vendors? What about those relationships?
Yeah. So ticketing's a hugely important partnership as well as relationship. It comes down to at the basis of ticketing, every ticketing does the same. They all sell your ticket. I think it comes
Say ticketing one more time. Say tickets one more time. Ticketing.
Ticketing. It is a fun word.
It is a fun word. I think it really comes down to when things go wrong, or customer service angle, or anti-fraud systems, on how it differentiates different companies. So very important there. On the F&B side, we typically, again, try and take everything in-house. So the bar is run in-house with the venue, or in partnership with the venue. Most of the food is. We do try and provide, that array of options on the food side for different dietary, whether they be, vegan, vegetarian, or so on. And those relationships are held tightly as well. We typically try and not just, pay, give us rents for those. We try and aid them and really work on the profitability side with those partners as well.
Very cool. And so with F&B and ticketing, would you suggest RFID or no RFID?
RFID like ARP? Like the dog
RFID.
name or what? Like that? Do you want the big boys to ask?
You probably should. And this is his time to shine, so he's going to make sure I don't forget it. So yeah, to FRID or nah.
I think at this stage, RFID is great just for trackability and being able to really gain on the sponsorship side, and really truly understand what your customers do, what they want, and where they go. It also depends on the connectability, and the connectivity of the venue itself. So we've tried to go full RFID many years ago, before a lot of infrastructure was brought in, and it went terribly wrong. So that was a lesson learned. But it all comes down to connectivity, and these days it's pretty easy to pop up connectivity in any venue. So I would go RFID.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. When it comes to booking talent, do you follow any kind of strategies to ensure that you're keeping up with current and even perhaps future markets?
Again, it's heavily curated by myself and the talent team, both with likes and interests, as well as trends. So we of course look at tour cycles and sell rates of different artists and who we're booking, but a lot of it, because we're so ingrained in the community ourselves, it's really just understanding what has happened over the year that's leading up to that event, and who is on a potentially upslope with their tour cycle. So it's a lot of likes and interests, but data driven as well.
Okay. How did you get to build your relationships with agents earlier on?
So we use, like I said, we try and bring everything in-house. So at the beginning, the people that are now in-house were a contractor of ours, very little relationship to us. And it was more just gaining a relationship to the agent that was already previously there through smaller bookings or other bookings.
Are there certain qualities that you're looking for people that are in-house, like to become in-house?
You know what? As long as the directive is there in terms of we all want a great show to happen. I think personalities always play an influential role in a boardroom, but personalities are easy to maneuver if you all want the same thing at the end.
Yeah, you have to align your goals, and that's ultimately communication.
Exactly.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that. That's a very strong way to end this conversation. Do you smell that?
I do not.
You don't? Oh,
do you?
It's probably over here. The air is so fresh and so clean. Now that it's been cleared. Thank you for doing that. This was very awesome, and I hope you had a fantastic time.
I did.
Before we finish off, though, Gabriel, do you have any final words that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, just I hope that the current global state, changes rapidly, so that we can all get back to what we know and love, and that's gathering together in large groups and really just enjoying what our passions are and taking those little vacations that we try to provide you guys.
Take the little vacations. I like that. I hope to see you on my next little vacation, Gabriel.
Hey, Gabriel, if there's any open positions for a sound guy on your staff, just know I'm looking for something.
He doesn't like it here.
Yeah, we typically hire sound guys with talent, but I'll definitely take your
Awesome. Gabriel, is there anywhere that listeners can find you or Beyond Oz? Anything that you'd like to share in terms of social media, websites?
Yeah, my personal handles just first and last name Gabriel Mattacchione, Mattacchione. Beyond Oz also has Instagram, Facebook, all the social platforms, and that is Beyond Oz Productions. And Ever After itself, same thing on all social platforms, and that is Ever After Festival or Fest, depending on the platform.
Nice. I will make sure to add those to the show notes so that everyone has the right links. But yeah, that's that. I want to say thank you to our listeners because without you, of course, there is no show. Shout out to Prevail Media Group because this is a bomb venue and we are rocking it. The team also does a great job in supporting us, so thank you guys. Angry Sound Guy, not so much, but you're here. You're part of the team, so shout out to you too. And most important for today, Gabriel Mattacchione, thank you for showing up. We out.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, then follow us on Instagram at go.produce. Check out our show notes, support us on Patreon, and help us grow this community. All of this and more can be found on our website at goproduce.ca. I am Big Lou, and I want to make sure that until next time, you go produce.